Dinner with Nanny Bubby. I'm Nanny Bubby, and this is my home kitchen, and welcome to all of you. So I've got my gloves on because I am working with raw chicken today. So I don't like to let my hands touch that raw poultry. It can be very dangerous. So I changed gloves. Hi there, Frank. Hope you're feeling better today. So I change gloves as I go. I like to work with the raw chicken first and try to get it prepared as much as I can. And then we'll move on to the other things and probably have to put the gloves back on, right? Like, hi there, Lene, how are you? When you're working with chicken, it's kind of like, you know, fisting and fighting it out because you just want to make so sure that you're being as careful as you possibly can. So today, as I mentioned in the notes, don't know if you see those notes before you sign on. Do you guys see those notes before you sign on? Just not sure, because I don't see what you see as well, you know. Sometimes I don't even see your comments, but do you see what I state that I'm cooking in the show notes when you come on? So yes, you're feeling better, but still testing. Oh, well, it'll be okay. You're getting through it. You're almost 5 days, I think now, Frank, so it's a good sign. 5 or 6, I think, maybe even 7, because I think you might have noted last Thursday. So anyway, answer the question, do you see the show notes? So we are making today a Spatchcock savory skillet chicken. And usually I make my Spatchcock chicken on a sheet pan, but this was very interesting because we're kind of stuffing under it with onions and garlic, and it makes it very savory, and so we're doing that in a skillet, and then we'll pop it in a 450-degree oven. So this is how we start. So let me just push you back a little bit and tilt you down, because I have this chicken. Let me just move the skillet here out of the way without pushing over the white wine. There we go. Okay. So there's the chicken. So these are bone cutters. These are poultry cutters. And I'm also wearing gloves because these handles are just a slick, smooth surface, as opposed to other handles that I think if they were serrated in some way, you could grip them. But when your hands get wet and you're trying to cut through the poultry bones, I particularly lose my grip, and maybe my hands are just so small that I can't quite hold on. But I find that I can make a better cut through this backbone. Can you hear that? If I have gloves on. So let me cut through this skin. There we go. And I'm basically just cutting out the back. So I'm going to cut down right through here. Some of these bones are tough to get through, I will tell you. You can probably hear the cracking of them. So I might be too close to the backbone here. There we go. And you see that? One more. As long as you can see the chicken, you don't have to worry about seeing me. There you go. And now I'm just kind of cutting through the skin with the poultry shears. They're not quite as easily done. Okay, and so now we're going to cut back the other direction. I'm going to, excuse me, cut the tail off because this family loves to eat the tail. So I'll keep that part. Excuse me, I kind of choked on my own verbiage there. Okay, and now I am cutting back through this backbone. And what I'm going to do with this backbone is I am literally going to stick it in the freezer in a Ziploc bag. And next time I make soup, I have about 7 backs frozen in there from cutting them for the last couple of months into the spatchcock position. There we go. There we go. Okay. That's it. All right. So this particular piece, let me get this. Skin is actually harder to cut through with these shears than, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to clean this chicken because there's, you know, some of the inner sides of this. And I'm going to just clean that right out of the chicken. I did spray the inside of this with food grade hydrogen peroxide in order to clean it. I have some paper towels, and I am going to just dry the inside of this so that we can get the seasoning to stick. There we go. And also right here, I just want to note But right here, if you look at this, put this here, let me turn this around so that you can see. So this is the start right here of the breastbone. When you're doing a spatchcock chicken, in order to get it to lay perfectly flat, if you will just cut into this breastbone just a little bit, then it just so much easier lays. Do you see how much flatter that's laying right now? So that's my advice. Just cut that bone just about an inch is all you actually need, and then you're good. So we're gonna set this aside, and we're gonna let it dry just a little bit, and we're gonna make our seasoning. And at this point, I'm going to take off these gloves. There we go. Throw this into my, what I call the compost basket, but I don't have a composter, so it doesn't. Hey, Lynn Newberg, nice to see you. Lynn Newberg is from Easy Leaf Products. Hi, Lynn Sansoni is also here. Susan Mendorf is also here. You guys saw me, I was not watching as closely as I needed to because I was watching the chicken very closely so I could cut through those bones. So very nice to have all of you joining me today. So let's take this and set it aside. That is the backbone. Again, I'm going to freeze that backbone for the soup at a later date. I have about 4 or 5 or 6 other backbones frozen in the freezer. I'll put them in to make chicken soup, which I love. A good, nice, healthy bone broth would be terrific. Okay, so the next step is we're going to make a lemon oil herb seasoning for the chicken, which will make it very, very savory. So the first thing we have is about 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme, if you can see that. It smells so good. And just to show you the easiest way to literally get thyme, which really, like if I'm ever feeling low, if I just take rosemary. I went out to the garden today and literally cut this rosemary just so I could bring it in because and the thyme, it just puts such a happy smile on my face. So again, to take your time, just go up to the very top and literally just go backwards on the stem. Can you see that? Backwards on the stem, backwards, and look at that. You've got a handful of thyme leaves just right there. And so this recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of thyme right there into the food processor, and here is a teaspoon of fennel seeds. So this is a little mini, can you guys see that? This won't come any farther because the cord is not long enough. Let me just turn you just a little bit. There we go. Here's a teaspoon of the fennel seeds. Right here, fennel seeds come in this handy jar. We've got a teaspoon of kosher salt in here. And then a teaspoon, half teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. There we go. And I'm going to take this top and I'm going to grind this up. So if you're ready, you'll have to excuse the sound for just a minute. Let's see who else is here. Let's see, Susan Mendorf, Lynn Newberg, Lynn Sansoni. Okay, stand by, you won't be able to hear a thing. There we go. Okay, we've made a nice powder out of the fennel seeds and out of the thyme, and we are going to take this, the salt, the pepper, and we're going to take this really nicely, and we're just going to pour that right into 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. So there we go, right into the olive oil. We're going to give it a nice stir. We'll just use our baster, our pastry baster, really. I don't even know if that's the accurate name, but that's what I've always called it. And there we go. Into the olive oil we go. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we'll start, and we want this to be able to marinate just slightly because we are going to turn this upside down. So the first thing we're going to do with the skin side down is we are going to put onto this chicken this oil, and we're going to cover it nicely just to give it some flavor before we turn it upside down over the lemon, the garlic, and the onion. Okay, and that way this herbed oil will sit on the back side of this and hopefully get into the meat before we turn it over. At least it has a better chance if it sits on there, right? Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to push this chicken. I'm just going to move this chicken actually for just a moment, and I will pull forward the cutting board, and we're going to work on the other part of what this recipe calls for. So we're going to take an onion. Let me grab this. Oh, this cutting board is so much heavier than you might think. So what I really love, which I completely forgot that I had in my cabinet, is this plastic little cutting board, if you will. What's great about this, and I say it all the time, and if you don't have one of these, which I forgot that I did have one of these, but if you don't have one, I always use parchment paper, because you don't want your garlic and your onion juices to get into the wood of your cutting board, because what happens is when you're cutting pink glow pineapple, when you're cutting up strawberries, when you're cutting up kale or celery or whatever else on your cutting board, suddenly you take a bite of a strawberry and you say, why does that strawberry taste like garlic? And then you remember, oh, yesterday I was cutting garlic on that same cutting board. So what I love about this particular, the plastic flat pieces, is that they protect your cutting board from things like garlic and onion, and yet you've got the nice heavy resistance of your great and favorite cutting board, which this one is mine. So we're going to go ahead and cut off the skin. And boy, sometimes these peel really easily, and sometimes they don't. And it's just always a crapshoot. Since we're here in Las Vegas, we always use our gambling terms, our favorite gambling terms. This one started out not so good, but hey, I seem to be winning the shoot right now. Let's see. Oh, I spoke up too soon. All right, let me get this. There we go. Here it comes all off in one piece. You know, it's like peeling a hard-boiled egg. Sometimes peels all off in one fell swoop, and other times not. So, okay. So let's grab all of this waste and get it into, try not to let that fall into your marinated oil. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, sorry about that. Okay, and we're just gonna cut this in half, this way right through the stem. Take that stem right off. There we go. So tomorrow I will not be here. As you know, Thursdays is my live on air on Channel 8. Hey, Danny Abbott's nice to see you. Nice to see you. So happy to see you. Is my on-air day on Channel 8. And tomorrow on Channel 8, I'm making the pink glow pineapple. I'm using Lynn Newberg's Edible Gold. I don't know if you guys have been to her website, easyleafproducts.com, for the Edible Gold and the Edible Silver. What I learned is that they also have shaker gold and shaker silver, which is great because sometimes just to sprinkle that edible gold or silver, depending on what you're making, can be a lot of fun and very glittery and helps to excite the palate. A lot of people haven't seen the edible gold or silver, so anyway, I am using the edible gold tomorrow, the pink glow pineapple, and we're making pineapple carpaccio as taught to us by Tasha Ann Powell on Monday. So that is really fantastic. And I can't wait to do that. I'm sure a really broad audience, like what KLAS brings into the marketplace, those people are going to really enjoy that. So, okay, here we go. We're going to crack this garlic and take the skin off. I kind of like doing that. I really love doing that. When I first started doing this, where you hit that knife, kind of scared me a little bit. But hey, Susie Foreman, nice to see you. You're here. Lynette Martinez is here. Donnie Yabbits is here. So glad to have all of you joining. Okay, everybody comes, everybody goes. It's a wonderful thing. Okay. One more, and then 2 more pieces of garlic. And we're going to mince these up. I believe that's what it calls for. Thinly sliced. Okay, we will thinly slice these because we're just going to mix them in with the onions. Go. sometimes I always say I don't like to put slices of garlic in because when you're eating, you end up with a big piece of garlic in your mouth as opposed to the minced garlic that sort of dissolves and disappears into your ingredients and what you're making. Hey, Berta Phillips, nice to see you. Thanks for watching. So I really do think, I mean, for as often as this calls for slicing, that I read recipes or do recipes that call for sliced garlic, I honestly, in so many ways, just think nobody wants to take a bite of a food and unsuspectingly just end up with a slice of garlic in their mouth. But if you mince it, you get all that wonderful garlic flavor, but it doesn't, you know, you just taste it, you don't get a bite of it. So rather than put, and you can smell that garlic, this is really pungent and very flavorful smelling garlic. So what I'm going to do, hey Lucy and Salako, nice to see you. I love that you're back to joining us every day. I know you get really, really busy with your charcuterie boards and what you're doing, but just so happy that when you do join us. But so I'm going to go ahead and mince this because I just, no matter what the recipe says, and I know Italians really do feel that the sliced garlic is the way to go, but I can't go there. I just think about the times where I've unsuspectingly taken a bite of whatever was being made and then ended up with a choke full of a slice of garlic. So I'm going to mince this garlic to spite what it says. So there we go. All right. So this is going to get ready to go right into the bottom of a cast iron skillet. So we're going to just take one more. We're going to take, let's go, half of this lemon right here, and then we're going to do some very thin slices of this lemon, like this, and then we are going to layer all of this onto the bottom. There we go. These are beautiful. Okay, so let's start out. Let me grab forward the skillet. Oh, this is one heavy skillet. Also, it was already out from last night's salmon. So can you guys see that? If it's here, can you guys see that? Give me a 1 if you can see that skillet. Actually, let's see. I think maybe what I'll do is move this down. Whoop. And move this up. How's that? Now I know you can see it. So, big surprise, I'm working on getting brand new equipment where I can do a 2-camera show on Facebook. How about that? That way you can see, yes, that is a beautiful skillet, isn't it? And you cannot believe, I wish I could see, I want to show you the top to this skillet. Let me show you this, since you mentioned it, Berta. Where is it? Oh my gosh, I don't know what I did with it. I know I took it out, I just don't know where it is. Oh, here it is, okay. Look at the top. Isn't that beautiful? So literally you can cook in this beautiful cast iron skillet and then, you know, bake in it. I make a beautiful frittata for brunch in this skillet. Then I take it out and put it on the table. And before everybody comes to the table, I do that with the top, which you can see, right? And it sits there and it just looks beautiful, and people cut out their frittata and it's just wonderful. So I absolutely love it, yeah. All right, so I have just dropped the onion all over the floor. So give me a minute, I want to pick it up and I want to rinse it good, and then we'll continue with this recipe. But when I was moving everything around, I dropped it all. So hold on, this is crazy. Okay, almost there. Okay, here I am. All right, let's rinse this off really good. Give it a nice soak. I'm over here washing off the onion. Let's see. I can't see what Lucy wrote from here. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So we're going to take this. She says, I meant looked amazing yesterday. Oh, the salmon. Yes, thank you. Okay, so we're going to take this onion that I just rinsed nicely. I'm going to take the lemon and put the lemon, and it was delicious. That salmon truly was delicious. It really was so nice. we go, with the lemons at the bottom, and then on top of the lemon, oh, that looks so good, doesn't it? On top of the lemon, we're gonna take, I am just dropping onion everywhere. We're gonna put this onion over the top of the lemon. Oh, holy moly. And here's one more piece of lemon. Okay. I'm gonna pick this up and I'm going to just scrape all that garlic and onion. I'm gonna give it a little toss with my hands so that it's mixed really nicely. I'm gonna take the rest of that lemon and I'm going to throw it on the top of a microplane and get some lemon zest out of the other lemon. So hold on just a minute. Let me grab the microplane. Where? So you know what happened? Tom put away the dishes last night, so I don't know where the microplane is. Hold on. Uh-oh. No microplane. I don't know where the heck it is. It's always here, right guys? You see me reach for it all the time. Well, let's try this. It is not my favorite microplane, but I just don't see the other, and I could be looking for it all day long. Okay, so ready? Here we go. Just gonna take a little bit of this lemon zest. What happens? I used it yesterday for something. Oh, you know where it is, actually? The microplane was for the ginger for tomorrow that we are using to make the carpaccio. So poor Tom gets a bad rap, right? I'm blaming Tom. Can't find the microplane, must be Tom's fault. But I've already packed it up for the show tomorrow in order to microplane the ginger into the beautiful simple syrup with cardamom and cinnamon. That's where it is. I just looked across the room and saw it. Here we go. Okay. Okay, now what we're gonna do, and this is we're gonna put gloves back on so we can fight through the spatchcock chicken. So let me dry my hands. Gloves back on. There we go. And we are going to grab a paper towel. See, I'm rushing it. My hands really are not as dry as they should be. So Berta, this is called, I don't remember the name of this pan, but I got it at Williams-Sonoma. I think on the inside of the top of this pan while I'm putting on these gloves. Let me look. Starts with an F and is called, nope, it's on the bottom of the pan. Let's see. Finex, F-I-N-E-X, F-I-N-E-X, cast iron pan. I got it at Williams-Sonoma. It is gorgeous and it cooks beautifully. It was easy to season, meaning that, you know, they always say that you need to season a cast iron pan. So here we go. Let me grab the spatchcock chicken. We're gonna take it and turn it back upside down, keeping that oil in and going just right over the top. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that something? Let me just grab paper towels because you want to really dry this skin very well before we put the flavored olive oil. Okay? Remember we flavored it with 2 teaspoons of thyme, the 1 teaspoon of fennel seed. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? And this is laying beautiful in the pan because we cut out about, an inch and a half, if you will. Here's the tail. Cut it, place it back in there. Of the breastbone, so that, yes, I didn't think it would fit, actually, Frank, but it does. Okay, so we have gotten this skin nice and dry. We're gonna baste on, look at this beautiful seasoning, olive oil, and thyme. Can you see the color? Isn't that beautiful? Robin Slipcock is here. Sorry I'm late. Well, listen, everybody, nobody can be here on time every day, and nobody's expected to be on time here every day. The only person that needs to be expected to be here on time every day is me. And today I was actually 1 minute late, but I forgot my AirPods, and I wanted you all to be able to hear me really, really well. So, here we go. Getting this on. And I'm not going to waste a bit of it. I'm going to just take it and pour it right so that it goes down onto the onions. And oh, this is just so beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. There's skin of some onion that fell in there. We'll get that out. Now we're going to take the lemon and just squeeze this lemon right, losing the seeds here. I need to cut my hand, which I'm happy to do since I have these gloves on. A lot of times, especially this time of year, my hand gets so dry. My hands get so dry that getting the acid of lemon on it just kills them. You know, I hate to even touch it, but so sometimes the seeds fly through my hands. But the good news is I got the gloves on, so we're not losing a bit. Okay, there we go. Saved all the seeds. Off that goes. All right, here we are. Gloves off. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this chicken. I'm going to put this into the oven right now with uncovered for about 30 minutes. If it starts browning a little bit too much, then of course I have my cast iron top, and I would put that over the cast iron, the top to the pot. I can put it on, keep it from turning too brown. But after 30 minutes, I'm going to take this white wine, and because I have leftover white wine, I am using the white wine. I might regret the fact that I didn't use dry vermouth, right? All of our gatherers know how much I love dry vermouth, but I have this left over. I don't want it to go to waste, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. I can always add a little dry vermouth if I feel like the taste is just lacking that richness of flavor. And I'm going to pour this not over the chicken, but just into the pot to really deglaze it without deglazing it with a spatula, and just creating more of a rich sauce with the onions and the garlic. I'm going to saute some riced cauliflower to eat this along with this chicken, and I think we're going to have a great dinner. So that's it for today. Oh, we've got one more little piece of lemon that I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze out. There we go. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And that's it for today. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go out and, ready? Spread love like butter. I will post a picture again today in Gather with Nanny Bubby. We got 40 new followers in our Gather with Nanny Bubby Facebook page. We're almost past, is it past 500 or past 400? I don't remember. I don't remember numbers. Isn't that crazy? But I think it's actually 500. I think we have 480 members, so we're almost 500 members in Gather with Nanny Bubby. So invite your friends to join us in Gather with Nanny Bubby. Just go to the Gather with Nanny Bubby page and then click invite, and wherever your friends pop up, invite them to join the group. We have a lot of laughs in there, really. There's some pretty funny stuff that goes on with everybody chatting and talking and doing everything. So do please come, enjoy, post your own pictures of your food, ask questions if you will. Like sometimes we've had a few people that were cooking for a party, doing something, and suddenly got lost on a recipe and needed a quick opinion, so they typed into the group, what would you do? Would you do X? Would you do Y? Would you do Z? And I'm telling you, the gatherers all show up for each other and help each other. To this point, we have our gatherers who did not know each other before the show started and before the group started, who have gotten to be very, very good friends. One of them, Lene, has been a big winner for everything that was offered, and she just wanted to share that with one of our gatherers, so she did. So it's just been really, everybody's so lovely and gracious and wonderful. So love being here. All right, on the count of 3, say it with me. 1, 2, 3, go out and spread love like butter. Bye, everybody.